We are here.
How y'all doing? How y'all
We are
doing?
here.
We live once
We
again.
are here on a Thursday. Y'all know normally we be here on Fridays, but we got a new day this week. I am
Right.
totally honored. Thank you for tuning in with True Topics. We have so much in store for you guys. I must say tonight is gonna be juicy,
It's gonna be juicy. It's gonna be real
knowledgeable.
juicy, real knowledgeable. Why do couples cheat? That's the
Woo!
question. Hey, that's what we're gonna be talking
Interesting
about tonight.
topic.
Interesting. We have some wonderful guests tonight. Elam B. King,
We
my
are
brother,
honored.
he's in the building. Yep, we got
We also have the beautiful Miss Peggy Brooks, author of Skin, A Matter of Race in America. Let's give both of them a round of applause
yeah.
on this
Welcome to the
Thursday
show. Welcome to the
night.
show.
So
Welcome to
much
the
in
show.
store. So much.
Right.
Where do we begin?
So hey, when we came up with this topic, we always try to come up with topics that people deal with, and I feel that instead of us being honest about situations,
Right.
we know we don't. We'll accept a lie over the truth any day, and a lot of people may make a lot of excuses on why do they cheat. And in the word of God, it states that individual that commits adultery lacks understanding. That's the word of God. And a lot of people try to make up excuses about their spouses, or whoever they're in a relationship with. And the true fact of it is, to me personally, is that you cheat because you want to.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. It's a choice about it. So, Miss Brooks, I want to just ask you a question when it comes to why do couples cheat. What do you feel about this title that we have for the show today?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me on your wonderful show today.
Yeah.
I agree with you. People cheat. It is a choice, but they kind of try to, like you said, camouflage it under, blaming their spouse or or hiding their own insecurities. It's just about, whether you're mature or not, whether you understand what a marriage is about. It's a partnership. It's not going to go perfectly all the time, not even most of the time sometimes, but you have to hang on in there.
Right.
And if you hang on in there, you'll see that there is light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to have that stamina. I call it stamina, to hang on in there. Be respectful and appreciative and honor your husband or your wife. I find that when that respect and that honor is not there, you're going to have problems because everybody wants to be appreciated. Everybody wants to be respected. And when your spouse loses that for you, then it actually just throws the marriage completely off. You can always get back on track. We know that if you're willing. But as you said from the top, it's a matter of choice.
Right, matter of choice. Mr. King, we got Mr. King on here, relationship coach, man, and I read a lot about you and everything. I know you have a spiritual background and what you do, with ministering to the brothers. You have a lot of different things coming up as well, I seen with the men, and I'm actually gonna be a part of that as well. I wanna support you in that. I want to hear your standpoint on this topic. Why do couples cheat? Why do you think the reason people cheat in a relationship?
Okay, well, first of all, because the camera doesn't want to let me be great, can you guys hear me pretty good?
Yes, can hear you real clear.
Okay. All right, and so first of all, thank you so much for just even inviting me on this platform. Anytime that we can just come together and speak towards our community of keeping people together, which is going to strengthen our community, which is going to strengthen our children, which is going to give us an opportunity of really moving forward here.
Amen.
I'm all forward. So anytime that you want to link up, let's continue to do so. So thank you guys very much for just what you do. And Miss Brooks, thank you for you doing what you do. All right. But I'm going to have to, I know that it was said in the beginning that, people cheat because they want to. And it's interesting. I actually work with clients one-on-one in a multiple capacity, single, married, divorced, or whatever. And so I always like to share with people, and I might lose some friends automatically when I say this, all right? But cheating is not the problem. Cheating is a symptom of the problem.
Ooh,
and so if you think about it, Ms. Brooks, if I walked into the room, right now, and I went to go, shake your hand, and in the process, especially in this COVID environment, if I sneezed, okay, and a bunch of, snot came out my nose and stuff like that, and it kind of just got all over your pretty shirt right there, right? Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, we have a problem. Okay, you're going to have a problem with me at that moment, because even though, that wasn't my intention, that's what got on you, right? Now, you would call that the problem. What you didn't know is that I was extremely allergic to your perfume. And so I'm allergic to pollen. And so I did not take my Zyrtec this morning. All right. So therefore, when I walked into the room, what looked like the problem really wasn't a problem. That was the symptom of a problem. Okay. So what I like to share with people is that I'm not trying to say that it's something that's okay, but we have to learn to unpack and look at it as, okay, somebody just wants to do this. And as we have a lack of self-awareness of what we have going on, then we can run right into the problem. And then what ends up happening is that people deal with the symptoms. That's the reason why that once somebody gets caught cheating, right? What do? We start turning over passwords and calling a lot more and, this, that, and the third, right? And then 2 years later, it happens again. Oh my God, I can't believe it happened again. Listen, we never dealt with the problem. We dealt with the symptoms. I didn't check in. We dealt with the symptoms of, you want to see my password to my phone or whatever. That's not the problem. You seeing my phone is not the problem.
Right.
Me checking in is not the problem.
Right.
Okay. What is the reason why that we got here? Okay. And that's what has to be unpacked so that we can actually walk through that moment. But instead, people deal with the symptoms. So I don't think people wake up in the morning and say, today I'm going to cheat. Okay. That doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. Okay. On average, it doesn't happen. I just wake up tomorrow, I'm just going to cheat tomorrow. No, it is a slow roasting problem that just ended up with two people horizontal. Okay. So because everybody's not even a physical touch love language person, so everybody's not even always after having sex, but it might end up there. So I want to stop there because I can go with this one. It's real.
That's real. That's real. And what you going, you saying that it's so real. And I was thinking about an individual that I know, right? He used to watch all kind of videos with women with different shapes and stuff like that, stripper women and things of that nature. So, it's like he kept feeding his mind with these things, right? So eventually it went from the television, watching the shows and videos and stuff he used to watch, with him actually going out trying to find those type of women to indulge in sex with.
Right.
So it's like he was feeding himself into it. So now, Ms. Brooks, I wanted to ask you, now, do you think that an individual can meditate on things that will cause them to go out to cheat?
Oh, of course. My thought process about it, I've been through the divorce after almost a quarter of a century with somebody. So, and as Elam said, the cheating itself may not have been the root of the problem,
right?
But that person that I was with fed that desire to go outside the marriage. He did not, the options. He wasn't willing to do the work that it takes for a marriage. That's my strong opinion about it. When you're married, it's work. It's work.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Right. It is. And you have to be, your heart has to be in it to want to work on it. But if you're looking at the marriage any other way, any less than being a union and working together in a partnership and respect and all those things, if you're looking at it any way less than that, you are susceptible to looking in a different direction because you don't have a bond to keep you there. There has to be that bond, and that bond has to be worked on all the time, every day.
And Elon, and man, I'm gonna tell you something. I never heard it put that way, but it makes a lot of sense what you said, man. People dealing with the symptom.
Yeah, that's actually I have a unshameless plug. All right, so so chapter 10 in my book, Understanding a Man, Empowering Women with Tools for Lasting Relationships. What I did was I interviewed 24 men about various topics of the heart, and I wrote about it. Things that if you have a daughter, or even if you don't have a daughter, things that you would want her to know, the real conversations. It complements those who've had a father in their life, and then it identifies things that if you might not have had that male guidance, that it gives you those portions. And so in this chapter, I interviewed the men of why do men cheat, right? And so I'm just going to read to you, the popular reasons, right? Men may cheat because of lack of something at home. Men may cheat due to selfishness. Whatever you did while dating, maintain that through marriage. When he sets the expectations, he is saying that you need to follow these. Do not give the side chick life by falling short of maintaining your man, right? Now, let's unpack that just for a second by just saying that, I want to be very clear that it's not okay that you are cheating, aka infidelity. I want to speak to the single people really quickly and say that just FYI, nobody can cheat on you. They can be unfaithful to you. Don't get it twisted. What we do over here in marriage is not what you can accept the same realm, because there is not a matrimony. There is not a spiritual portion. There is not a belonging from one to the other, right? And you can take that however you want to, but we're not on the same wavelength. But somebody can be unfaithful to you, right? So I love what Ms. Brooks said earlier with regard to, that the person can feed something. And I want to share something to anybody that's out here just for that one portion that she just said. If we could just unpack that for a moment, there's something called generational curses, aka ancestral patterns. Okay, now we know about alcoholism, we know about mental illness, we know about incarceration, we know about early death, we know about divorce, right? These are generational curses that are passed down throughout your generation. If you don't know, go look in your Bible, and then go look at the pattern that has existed and that is existing within your generation, and you will see a pattern that exists. If you are not able to identify the fact that within maybe your generational curse, perhaps some people are just hoes, right? Some people are just, they're playboys. They're just out there, just play girls, play boys, right? Let's have a grown conversation for us.
Just keep it real. Two topics. Keep it real.
It's not that they don't make the decision to go and, enter that person or receive that person, right? That is that person's, and that goes back to, sir, your point of the decision. That's where the decision is made. However, we have to understand that the same reason why that Johnny is really smart, because you were smart in school, and the same reason why, because you got good hair, that little Sarah and Jessica got good hair because of you, right? We love to pass down the good stuff to our children. We don't recognize the fact that we pass down bad stuff too, right? And so we have to understand that it might even skip a generation, right? So this is how you can feed that desire, by not even identifying and knowing what's in your lineage, right? If cancer is in your great-great-grandmother, you're already looking at ways to walk through that, right? Or I got to avoid this or avoid that, right? Or, whatever the illness that might be sent down your lane, right? Everybody's got one, right? Heart disease, whatever. We have to also know that these iniquities, all right, because we're born in sin. That's the reason why our default is normally to do wrong, because you're born in sin. Well, iniquity is generational curse. Okay, so we have to know that. So I love how Ms. Brooks talked about that, because that's something that you can feed, and you feed it by not even identifying and knowing what it is.
And man, that is so real, man. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you some a testimony about me. Okay. I used to deal with a lot of women when I was young. Okay. Always dealing around with a lot of women. And my mom came to me one day and she told me, she said that you just like your father. I never knew my father, but that bothered me because I know how my father treated my mom. You know, she loved him so much. And, you know, he messed around on her and used to deal with a lot of women. He, you know, they always say he was a good guy, but he always used to deal with a lot of women. And, you know, my mom never said that to me before, but she used to get very upset when she had see me interacting with all these different women. And she turned around and told me that you just like your father. And that bothered me, you know, and I strived hard from that day to make sure that I wasn't like my father. You know, because, you know, my mom always used to sit down and she talked to me, you know, because, you know, my mom, she had all boys, you know, it's 4 of us. She raised us by herself and, you know, did a real good job. And I love my mom, man, you know, and she always used to just try to talk to me and teach me how, you know, to respect a woman and make sure that, you know, you do right by women and stuff because of the hurt that, you know, she dealt with from her father. You know, she kept that hurt with her, you know, even though after he passed. And you know, I never knew that it was a generational thing that I was fighting until I got older and got a relationship with God and got an understanding of this thing called a generational curse. I never heard about it before, never knew about it before until I, you know, got into the word and started, you know, studying the word and got closer to God, and he started getting me to understanding. Now, my mom said that to me maybe 15 years ago, and one day it came back to me what she said, and I understood what she was speaking about. And that helped me to continue to fight against that thing because I seen that I was up, just like you say, up against a generational curse, you know, something that my father used to do and my father used to do, you know, that player blood that was in me. And, you know what I'm saying, it came from him. And that was a generational curse that I was fighting. And by the grace of God, I was able to identify what I was fighting against. And then God was able to help me to fight against that, to not be like my father. Because, see, if I would have continued to be that way, I wouldn't be sitting here with the blessing that God blessed me with here today, my wife. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so thankful that he blessed me to just change from that man that the enemy tried to create. And God was like, nah, this is not your image. I created you in this image here. And I seen with the image versus the image that the enemy tried to create for me. And I went along with the image that God had for me versus the enemy that the enemy had for me that identified me as the world. I went with the identification that God gave me as a man of God that he created me.
It's crazy. It's crazy that you say that. And coming from a female perspective, I can truly understand where my husband is coming from because God will allow individuals to come into your life at the right time. You know, after y'all hearing him share the story about him, I'm actually the female version of my husband. And that is what we laugh about all the time. You know, from a female perspective, I used to say this saying that, you know, I'm going to be honest, before I became saved, before I knew what it was to love a man, to be honest, I felt like I was a pimp. I felt like by getting hurt so much by men, when I did have someone, I never took them serious because I'm like, you love me? Yeah. Anyway, next, you know, I always had this guard. So I never took anybody seriously, honestly, until I met my husband. He actually taught me what it was to love a man. I was so scared when I first got married. I'm like, you want to marry me? Do I know how to be a wife? Like, I was scared, you know.
She turned out to be a good one.
And, you know, and it's real scary. And it's real scary when you don't want to become those people that cheat. You always, you know, I want to be faithful. I am faithful. And I thank God for leading me every day and still helping me, you know. But I know once you have somebody good in your life and, you know, you don't want to go out there and mess up. You know, that's a problem that I have. I see so many situations. You have good women, you have good men, and they just go out there and just do it because they just feel like it, because they feel like they can.
Right.
You know, and it's so selfish to me. It's very selfish.
Yeah. Well, that was deep though, Mr. King, man. Especially about the generational curses,
It's
man,
real.
and just identifying, and not even just identifying in couples cheating. Just identifying things that's in your life that the enemy try to blind you of. That's the reason why a lot of things don't get fixed, because we always talking about the situation. Let's identify the problem. I told a guy that about a month ago. I said, man, you focusing on the situation, what's going on, but let's focus on the being that's behind it, that's causing these situations to happen. You know what I'm saying? The evil principalities that's behind this, that's causing these things to happen. And he was like, what you mean? I'm like, man, you got to look deeper than what you're looking at. So you are right about identifying. That's the only way that we can fix something. If we identify, that's the only way.
And that's the reason why that we have to remain in counsel. And for all my saints that are listening, I want to share with you that this is the reason why that it does speak in the scripture with regard to remaining in counsel, because blind spots, the word blind spot is there for a reason. It's blind. You can't see it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you have to have somebody else to identify it.
Right.
That's the reason why that, remaining in counsel, that's the reason why those of you in July and August is August and September really are the biggest months for people to get married. Let me tell you how many people that are about to get married right now and they have not been through pre-marriage counseling. Okay, for those of you who are out there doing that right now, let's really think about this for a second. You're about to sign up for the biggest business, financial, and emotional situation that you have ever been through. And you like, well, we love each other, so we're gonna trust God, and let me tell you something. Trusting God and just love is not enough in a marriage.
Amen.
Okay? It's a requirement, but it is not enough. That's why it says faith without works, right? So, and some of those works, you don't understand those. And that's the reason why we have to remain in counsel. And so even for those that might be thinking, okay, well, he cheated because he just wanted to. Listen, we have to walk this thing in steps. Step one, let's look down your line, right? Is it a curse, right? Step two, now let's look at some of the other reasons why. Are you trying to replace your love language? You know what I'm saying? We can go down that street and talk about the 5 love languages, right? We can go over here to intimacy, which stands for intimacy, right? Are you allowing yourself to be seen into, and are you seeing into the other person? Because physical intimacy is only one aspect of intimacy. You have 4 other aspects. You have experiential, you have intellectual, you have emotional, and you have spiritual, right? And you have emotional. So maybe there's a lack of intimacy in one of those categories. You might be hitting it right, but you're not hitting their emotions right.
That's
right?
real.
You might be praying and on your knees, right? And by the side of the bed and giving that spiritual intimacy, right? If you're not able to have experiential, you're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. You're not participating in spending quality time with that person. So you're missing experiential. So that's the reason why when you get married, folks, it is a responsibility, and you have to be able to ask yourself, am I hitting my intimacy buckets? Right? Ooh. Just because you gave that person head last night, it does not mean that you have a right to not tap into them emotionally tomorrow.
That's right. Man, hey, that's what I'm talking about, man. That real deal Holyfield. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Because I don't know why everybody think it's all about sex. It's so much more than just physical. It's
real, man.
Levels.
That's real. That's real, man. And that's so real, man. And tell us a little bit about the book. What can they purchase the book at? That book.
This is Understanding a Man. You can go to understandingaman.com and make a purchase. I actually did not talk about intimacy there. I actually just released a pre-marriage online course, and it's called Are We Ready Yet? So if you go to arewereadyyetcourse.com, you will have an opportunity of walking through an online course that not only walks through some of the things I'm saying tonight, but just period, and just giving you an opportunity, because I think that people have to understand that it's divorce is at 50%, period, in the U.S. Right? Right. Inside of the minority community, it's at 70%. So let's really look at this. If you are a minority, those of us who are sitting here, we have a 70% chance of losing in our marriage. Now, if anybody's ever played a game before, I want to ask you, when you're about to play a rival who has a higher probability of beating you, how do you practice before those games? Okay, do you practice at the same level or do you take it a step up, right? So when you're walking into what is the game of marriage, right, because you have offense and defense, right? And so when you're walking into marriage, you know, what are you doing ahead of time to set yourself up to have longevity within your marriage? And sex, and you looking good, and you making good money, those might be some staple items based upon the person that you are with, but that is not how people stay married. It's not.
Right. That is so true. Hey, and I want you to send me that information about your books.
Yes.
And everything. And I want to be, because I'm gonna post it on I'm gonna post it on the show so people can tune in and, you know, check you out and everything. And I'm going to promote that because, you know, counseling helped us when we got married as well. It was very good. It allowed us to identify a lot of things about ourselves before we made that step, you know, and it was a blessing. So you're right about that counseling.
Tell the truth, we were crying.
Yeah, we were. And Miss Brooks,
Young broke us down.
and Miss Brooks, she has a wonderful book. I'm talking about. It's called Skin, right? A Matter of Race in America, correct?
That's correct.
Right. And where can they purchase that book or find that book?
You can purchase it on Amazon, or you can go into Barnes and Noble and request it, and they'll order it for you.
Okay, that's great. And it's a great book, by the way. I love that. I loved it. And Mr. King, by the way, the Miss Brooks, that's my lovely cousin. That's my cousin.
Come on, cousin. Hey, cousin. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, cousin. I know I get to talking a little bit, so I'm sorry, cousin.
Not at all.
He talking
Good information. Good information.
Yeah, good information. Real good information. That's what we all about. Hey, I appreciate y'all coming on the show. I love y'all. I really do. Hey, Mr. King, you was a blessing to the show. Miss Brooks,
The
you was
queen.
Sorry about the camera. The
Queen.
camera was suspect. My camera was suspect. I'm real sorry, y'all.
Hey, you know what?
Oh, we gonna get you to come on again.
We're gonna have you
This
to come
part
on
one.
again. This part one. And we're gonna be working. And we're gonna be talking. And I want you to also shoot me the information as well. Okay.
Yeah, I put it in the comments. I don't know. Maybe it went to the private, but I'll drop it in there. Yes, sir.
Okay. That's cool. We have some people on now. Look, boss said, "Hey, how you doing, sis? We're gonna see y'all tomorrow." She said that. Yeah, she said it was some good stuff. We have someone on the show said this is some good stuff. Thank God for faithfulness.
Yeah.
Hey, it was some good stuff. It really was. They came with it and everything. We greatly appreciate y'all coming on the show. James, super.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. It was a super. It really was, man. I learned some stuff today. Just being real. You know, so hey, look here. We greatly appreciate y'all watching the show. We love y'all. Stay focused, stay empowered, stay encouraged, and continue to keep trusting God every day. And hey, look, no one is perfect, but we can work towards perfection. Y'all take care. Keep y'all head up. Peace.
Thank you.